We're about to move there, so can you confirm that everything is good to go? I don't want to deal with unnecessary hassle, so make it perfect, okay? Huh? Ready? What do you mean? I'll do whatever I can to prepare, but... Isn't that something you should figure out on your own? First of all, the smell inside the house bothers me. Country houses have that weird, damp smell, don't they? I seriously can't handle that. Have you hired a professional to deodorize the place or something? I've cleaned the house thoroughly, but deodorizing, I haven't gone that far. I've been careful about moisture, though. See? This is why the countryside doesn't cut it. No one ever complained about stuff like this in the city. Everything there is just so low quality. I see. Well, if it's necessary, I'll do my best to have it ready by tomorrow. It's not about trying. This should have been done already. Oh, and what about the yard? I absolutely can't stand it if it's overgrown with weeds. There's no way I'm putting up with it looking bad when I get there. Of course, the yard has been taken care of properly, but since the countryside is rich in nature, the weeds might grow back again. That's exactly what I'm saying is unacceptable. I don't care about rich in nature or whatever. What matters most is that it's neat and tidy. And bugs. No bugs allowed. If I find any, I won't be pleased. So make sure they're all sorted out. I've taken pest control measures, so I don't think you need to worry too much about that. But completely eliminating them is a bit difficult. What do you mean by difficult? The house I lived in back in the city was perfect. That's just common sense. People in the countryside are so behind when it comes to these things. Well, I can't argue with the convenience of the city, but living here has its own charm, surrounded by nature. I hate that excuse about nature. It's full of bugs, dirty and just gross. Maybe people there are used to it, but I'm definitely not. I see. It's a completely different environment from the city, so it might take some time getting used to. But once you do, I think you'll find it comfortable. Comfortable? No way! Honestly, everything there, from the appearance to the style, is so outdated. It's disappointing. Natalie, you should make an effort to modernize yourself a bit. I've heard you're well regarded around there, but at that level, you'd be laughed at in the city. Effort to modernize, huh? I've never thought about it, but do you really find my appearance that concerning? It's not just your appearance, it's everything. I just can't understand the mindset of people from the countryside. I'll be living here soon, but honestly, I'm filled with nothing but anxiety. I've done everything I could think of, but please, don't hesitate to tell me if there's anything inconvenient. Got it. I've made sure to air out the house thoroughly. It's that time of year when humidity can be an issue, so I've tried to keep the air fresh and flowing. After vacuuming, I also carefully wiped everything down with a damp cloth. If there's anything else that bothers you, just let me know. You're scheduled to arrive tomorrow, right? What time should I expect you? If you let me know, I can prepare accordingly. Also, if you need any help with moving, please don't hesitate to ask. I can at least help carry some of your belongings. No, we're fine. We'll manage on our own. You don't have to worry about that, but I do appreciate all the cleaning you did. Thank you very much. I see. Understood. If anything comes up, please let me know. About the key, I was thinking of leaving it in the mailbox before you arrive. Will that work for you? In the mailbox? Isn't that a bit careless? This is the countryside, so there's really no need to worry about that. I've never heard of anyone stealing keys from a vacant house here. Is it really that safe? It's hard to believe. This definitely feels like the countryside. Don't tell me. You're not in the habit of leaving your front door unlocked all the time, are you? That's not a common thing there, right? Well, it depends on the person, but yes, there are people who do that, especially since neighbors here trust each other. It's not something they worry about much. Unbelievable! So I guess bugs are more likely to get inside too, huh? Bugs are inevitable, unfortunately, but we don't really hear much about pests. The house was renovated 12 years ago, so it's in great condition. I took a look in the attic to ensure there aren't any bats or other critters that have settled in. If anything comes up, don't hesitate to reach out to me. The house we're moving into? It's your aunt's place, right? That's right. My aunt passed away 5 years ago, and since then, no one has lived there. I've been taking care of it and keeping it clean since I live nearby, but it felt like such a hassle to let it sit empty like that. So I thought it'd be nice to rent it out to someone moving to the area. The town is really putting effort into supporting people moving here, right? We got quite a bit in subsidies ourselves. Yes, our town has been dealing with depopulation. But I'm worried there might be a bunch of those typical countryside rules to deal with. There aren't any particularly strict rules in this town. That's why more young people are moving here these days. Have you always lived in this town, Natalie? I was born and raised here. I moved to the city for college and I worked in New York for a few years after graduating, but I came back after I got married. I'm surprised you wanted to come back to the countryside. Didn't you think about staying in New York? I guess the countryside just suits me better. So, even if someone from the countryside moves to New York, they're still a country person, huh? Maybe so, but I wanted my child to grow up freely and enjoy life in the countryside. Oh, you have kids? Yes, I have a son. One of the perks of living in the countryside is that no matter how much he runs around or makes noise, it doesn't bother the neighbors. Boys are always full of energy after all. Ah, so your son is that kind of lively type. The deciding factor for moving back was actually my husband wanting to live in the countryside. He was born and raised in New York, and apparently always dreamed of living in the countryside. Unbelievable! Do people raised in the city really adjust to rural life? Some people do end up finding it doesn't suit them and move back to the city, but so far, my husband seems to be thriving here. In fact, he says he never wants to go back to the hustle and bustle of the city. He seems to be a perfect fit for the countryside. Wow! That's a rare type of person. Stella, did you and your husband move here because you wanted to try living in the countryside too? My husband John was the one who first suggested we should move. We had always lived in New York as well, and not just anywhere. We were in a pretty upscale neighborhood. But a lot happened and we got tired of the city life, so we decided to take a break from it and try living somewhere else. I see. This place is quiet, so I think you'll be able to relax here. Relax, you say? There doesn't seem to be much to do, so I guess I'll just end up staring into space. There aren't any stylish cafes or shops around there either. All we have here is nature and a slower pace of life. If you ever run into any issues, feel free to ask me anytime. I live nearby, so it's no trouble. Nearby, but it's still a few hundred meters away, right? People in the countryside really have a weird sense of distance, don't they? You'll get used to it eventually, Stella. Hey there! Natalie, I've got something I want to ask you. Is that okay? Hey, what is it? That car in your garage? It's a foreign car, isn't it? John seemed oddly curious about it and was wondering what brand it is. Oh yes, it is. My husband has been a car enthusiast for as long as I've known him. He saved up little by little before we got married and finally bought that car. It looks like our son Michael has inherited his love for cars because he's just as obsessed. He's constantly browsing through those foreign car magazines. Wow! Both father and son share the same passion for cars. It's rare to see a family with matching hobbies like that. But I've heard foreign cars are really expensive. Is that true? Yes, that's right. I don't know much about cars myself, but my husband was very particular when choosing it, so I think it cost quite a bit. I do remember it being expensive. Speaking of which, your house is massive. I know houses in the countryside tend to be spacious, but this one feels like it's a mansion. It's impressive. Could it be that your family comes from a line of landowners or something? Oh, you noticed? Actually, yes. We've had land passed down in the family for generations, which allowed us to build such a large house. But other than that, we're just ordinary people. So, you really are landowners. That means you're rich, aren't you? Having land alone is already valuable. We're not that wealthy, honestly. It's true we have a lot of land, but it comes with maintenance costs. And it's really just unnecessarily large. But you have an expensive car and a big, impressive house. That sounds pretty well off to me. By the way, what does your husband do for work? He's a farmer. He grows crops and fruit in fields and orchards, then ships them out or sells them locally. A farmer? That's kind of surprising. Does farming make that much money? I don't hear much about it in the city, so I'm not sure how it really works. Well, I think it varies a lot from person to person. But your family is definitely making more than the average income, right? Well, yes, I suppose so. How much do you make annually? I'm asking for a reference. It might help us plan. Who knows? Maybe we'll try farming too. But your husband works from home, right? Yeah, he's a programmer, so he works remotely. That's why we were able to move to the countryside. But if farming is more profitable, maybe I should have him switch careers. It's hard to say how much you can earn from farming. It really depends. We're probably just lucky that things are going well for us. How much do you make annually? Tell me. Well, it varies, but I think it's over $120,000. You make that much? Well, we run things on a pretty large scale, so that's why. Wow, not bad for a country bumpkin. John's only making around $50,000 right now. And you're not even a middle-aged couple yet, but you're making that much. But unlike a programmer, farming doesn't have that cool vibe. It's pretty dull, just working with nature. And there are years when things don't go as well, too. Yeah, but who cares about that stuff? Whether a job is flashy or boring doesn't matter. As long as it pays, who cares about the image? But farming comes with fewer days off, and it's physically demanding. It requires a lot of effort and money. Your harvest depends heavily on the weather, so it doesn't have the stability of a regular office job. You need to be prepared for a lot if you want to pursue farming. But if you're serious about it, I'd be happy to help you. Excuse me? What's with that tone? Are you saying we don't have what it takes to do farming? Are you looking down on us? Will you stop underestimating us? No, it's not like that. I'm not underestimating you. It's just that farming is messy, hard work. And you and John seem stylish and sophisticated. Very much city people. I was just wondering if farming would suit you. We can handle farming. As long as we know how to do it, it's no big deal. Then how about coming to see our fields and orchards sometime? I can show you what it's like. I'll let John know. He'll be the one going. You're not coming? Well, I'm not planning on doing any farming anyway. You're not going to help? Farming works best when both husband and wife work together. It's a lot of effort after all. No way! I don't want to get sunburned and my nails would get ruined. There's no way I'm doing dirty work like that. Plus, I absolutely hate bugs and worms. I see. Well, then talk to your husband about it, and if he decides to go for it, let me know. Oh, John doesn't really have a choice in the matter. I mean, he always does whatever I ask him to do. No questions asked. I see. Hey, I thought I might have been mistaken, but... What is it? I'm sorry if this comes across as rude, and I don't mean to offend you, but... What? Spit it out! Stella, I saw you at our orchard earlier, right? I couldn't help but notice. Did you, by any chance, take some of the fruit that's growing there? Oh, that! I was just in the mood for some fruit, so I took about 4 or 5 pieces. It's not a big deal, right? You took them? Stella, our orchard isn't your personal refrigerator. Those fruits are for sale. For sale or not, you've got so many of them. Taking 4 or 5 isn't going to hurt, is it? Don't be so cheap. Besides, I was just looking around to get some ideas for farming. Getting ideas? If that's the case, you could have talked to me first, but taking them without permission is a bit of a problem. But you can't really know unless you actually taste it, right? Just looking around doesn't tell you anything about the flavor. If we're going to get into farming, seeing and tasting the final product is the most important step, don't you think? Stella, are you really serious about starting farming? Of course! I've already asked John to give it a try. We're planning to start for real soon. So Natalie, I'm going to need you to teach us everything, okay? I don't mind teaching, but farming isn't as easy as it sounds. It takes a lot of time and effort, and you need to plan things carefully. Oh, come on! Don't sweat the details for now. Just focus on getting us ready to start farming. You know, you've got the experience, so it's totally cool for you to walk us through this, right? Hold on a second. Are you asking for my help to dive into farming? Stella, don't you think that's a bit one-sided? One-sided? Isn't that just an excuse? You've got time, don't you? So I'll leave everything in your hands. Thanks in advance. Stella, if you want to learn from others, you should be mindful of your manners, especially if you're serious about farming in this area. The people here have been farmers for generations. They'll be your seniors in this field. But despite that, you've been trespassing on other farms and stealing crops, haven't you? Lately, people have been talking about you. Excuse me? Do you have any proof? You've got the wrong person. Must have been a mistake. There's no mistake. You stand out, Stella. Even from a distance, you're easy to recognize. Your hairstyle, your bright red or pink clothes, the curls in your hair and the heels you wear. There are heel marks in the fields, by the way. You're the kind of person who's hard to miss in a place like this countryside, and several people have actually witnessed you taking crops. Are you all trying to gang up on me and isolate me? This is exactly why I hate the countryside. So conservative, always hating outsiders. You're just looking for a reason to push us city folks away, aren't you? That has nothing to do with it. We moved here from New York too, you know, but that doesn't excuse stealing. Excuse me? Stop jumping to conclusions and calling me a thief. All I'm saying is, this is your warning. Stop ignoring greetings from the neighbors, stealing crops, and causing trouble. How about you stop making me the bad guy instead? Just because your family owns land doesn't mean you can act all high and mighty. You were annoying even before we moved here with that condescending attitude. I can't stand how you carry yourself like you're the authority here. Just because you've been around longer, pretending that everyone in the community is on your side. I'm sorry, that was never my intention. Don't think I missed you parading your higher salary around just to feel superior to us. Wait a minute. I wasn't flaunting anything. You asked about our income and I simply answered your question. Stop making excuses. I can't stand people like you. Hey, I've completely lost respect for you. I thought you were a decent person. Huh? What's going on? How are you raising your child? Wait, what happened? Did Michael do something? Your son attacked me. What? I've been emotionally scarred. I'm looking for a hefty compensation for the damages. John is furious too. He even stormed into the town office, yelling about how they're trying to bring new residents into a town with criminals like this. Hey, could this be some kind of mistake? There's no way Michael could do such a thing. Are you saying I'm lying? Well, I get that you don't want to believe it, since if this gets out, your family won't be able to stay in this town anymore. But it's the truth, and you need to face reality. Even if you're a landowner, you won't get to act all high and mighty in this town anymore. I mean, Michael couldn't have done something like that. He's just not capable of it. Come on! Are you one of those delusional parents who think their kid can do no wrong? The fact is, I was attacked. Yesterday evening, while I was out on a walk, your son came up from behind, grabbed me in a chokehold, and dragged me into a dark alley. He's a monster. Your son's a beast. Michael is 5 years old. Wait, what? Like I said, our son is only 5 years old. How could such a small child possibly put an adult woman in a chokehold? You've got to be kidding me. Are you trying to lie your way out of this? Will you knock it out? I'm not lying. This is something everyone in the neighborhood knows. My family is well known in this town. Besides, Natalie, you're not exactly young anymore, are you? And didn't you say your son loves cars? What I saw was definitely a young man, no doubt about it. It's true that Michael is obsessed with cars and is always carrying his toy cars around. But I gave birth to him when I was 43, so he's still just 5 years old. What? That doesn't make any sense. Then what about all the times I've seen you with a young man? Are you saying that wasn't your son? A young man? Oh, that must be one of the part-time workers I hire during harvest season. When things get busy, I ask for help with the farm work. A part-timer? Then maybe he is the culprit. Unfortunately, that's not the case. He finished his job and left 4 days ago. You mentioned earlier that the incident happened yesterday evening, right? Wait, then who did I see? Someone definitely attacked me, so your family should still take responsibility. Stella, it's not good to accuse people based on assumptions. You should take a moment to calm down and think carefully about what you actually saw. Wait a second. Nobody told me your son was that young. You said your husband stormed into the town office, right? The staff there already know that we only have a 5-year-old son. Then the culprit must be some other young guy. It has to be someone living in this town. Actually, all the young men in town were at the community center yesterday evening, attending a meeting about the upcoming festival. What? So, who exactly is this person that attacked you? Stella, honestly, I'm very disappointed. I never expected you to be like this. Huh? John came by earlier to apologize. He kept apologizing to us and he really meant it. But you didn't come yourself, did you? I don't need to apologize. I was the one who was attacked, so I'm not lying about anything. But you did say it yourself, didn't you? That it was wrong to accuse the wrong person? The real issue here is your baseless accusations in the first place. And it's not just that. What are you trying to say? Stella, You posted about this incident on social media, didn't you? And along with that, you wrote a lot of bad things about the town. There were several posts directly attacking my family. What was your intention with that? How do you even know about my social media? A woman from the neighborhood ran into it. She told me about the posts, and the content is almost entirely baseless lies. You claimed my son attacked you, that the town is isolating you because you're an outsider. None of that is true, is it? Especially the part where you said Michael attacked you. That's outright defamation. I could sue you for this. Please don't sue me. I'll tell you the truth. Just please forgive me. The truth? All right, then explain yourself. It was all a lie. The truth is, no one attacked me. I only wrote those things because I was frustrated. That's your reason? Do you have some kind of personal grudge against me? Why would you do something so awful? Because, Natalie, you seemed so trusted by everyone in town. So perfect. It just annoyed me. And the fact that you're from the countryside but make more money than us, it made me so angry. Why do you get to live in such a big house and own such an expensive car? Even so, making up lies and trying to ruin someone else is just wrong. Do you realize how much trouble you've caused the townspeople and my family? I also heard from John that back in New York, you caused problems in your neighborhood, including stealing. That's why you ran away to the countryside. While we're grateful for new residents, this town doesn't need people like you. I've told John to leave. What? Why should I have to leave? John has already promised to move out. He also agreed to pay compensation, so I won't sue you for defamation. However, you must delete the defamatory posts and issue a public apology. Fine. John really comes off as a decent guy, even going out of his way to say sorry for you, but even he seems to have reached his limit. He's decided to divorce you. What? I don't know anything about that. How did it come to this? Tell me it's not true. I didn't mean for it to end up like this. No, I don't want this. I can't imagine divorcing John. I can fix this, right? There's still a way, isn't there? Please tell me. You've been dismissive of the people here and their way of life, doing whatever you pleased without consideration. The townspeople tolerated your behavior for a while, but they've reached their limit. This is a place where helping one another is valued. There's no room here for someone selfish and hurtful like you. Your place in this town is gone. Take this opportunity to reflect on your actions in a new place. Take care. I doubt we'll ever meet again. No way! Afterward, Stella and John left the town. On the day of the move, John was going from person to person, and honestly, it was a bit painful to watch. Stella, on the other hand, wore a dissatisfied expression until the very end. John officially decided to divorce her. As a result of the trial, Stella not only had to pay alimony, but was also ordered to compensate for the stolen crops and damages caused by her troublesome behavior. To pay off these costs, she took a live-in job at a factory far away. However, her personality continued to cause problems. She repeatedly clashed with coworkers and supervisors. Rather than working to repay her debts, she kept creating new conflicts and losing her place yet again. Meanwhile, John regained a peaceful life after the divorce. He built good relationships with the townspeople and seemed to have settled in well. Seeing him smile and say, "Life is finally peaceful again," really made me feel happy for him. I truly hope someone like Stella never appears in this town again. Using the countryside as a dumping ground or an escape route for personal problems is incredibly selfish. I really hope that the kindness and honesty of the folks around here stay safe and sound in the future.
Thank you for watching. Please rate the video and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.